They will tell you everything you need to know without saying a single word. That is the first lesson. Most people think understanding others is about listening carefully to their words, memorizing their arguments, preparing your responses. But words are performances, distractions. A well-spoken liar can soothe you into ruin, while the silent man can seem dangerous for no reason but that he cannot be read. If you want to read their mind before they speak, you must learn to look behind the curtain of language itself. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by their eyes than by their hands, because all can see but few can touch. He meant that appearances rule the world, but also that most people stop at appearances. They never train themselves to see the second layer, the truth beneath the mask. If you want power, you must develop this skill. You must see through them before they even open their mouths to lie. We live in an age that worships speech, endless talk, performative sharing, everyone with a microphone. But Machiavelli would tell you that a ruler, a strategist, gains nothing by shouting. He listens, he watches, he notices what they cannot hide, even when their lips say nothing, and he uses that knowledge. I want you to look at the people around you. Notice how they stand, how they shift their weight, where their eyes travel when they're pretending to listen. The tapping of fingers, the biting of lips, the stiffness in shoulders. This is where the mind leaks its secrets. Because language can lie, but the body cannot sustain the lie for long. If someone flatters you excessively, but you see their eyes flickering with impatience, understand they are already calculating their exit. If they nod eagerly, but their feet point away from you, they want to leave. If they speak about loyalty but can't hold your gaze, they fear being discovered. You don't need them to confess, you already know. Machiavelli observed that men are quick to promise but slow to deliver, that they will vow loyalty in words, yet serve their own interests in practice. He wasn't simply cynical, he was precise. He understood that power depends on anticipating betrayal before it strikes. The one who waits for proof waits too long. So you must study not only their words, but their incentives. Ask yourself, what do they want that they won't admit? What do they fear being exposed? What weakness do they hide by bragging? Every boast is a patch over an insecurity. Every harsh judgment of others reveals their own secret shame. You will notice that those who must proclaim their honesty over and over are the very ones who plan deception. The person who calls himself humble cannot bear being perceived as low. The one who boasts of generosity fears being seen as greedy. The truth is written in the reversal. But do not think this is a matter of cold observation only. This is the art of strategy. For once you see them truly, you can move them. If you know what they fear, you know what threat will tame them. If you know what they want, you know what price will buy them. If you see their weakness before they speak it, you can choose whether to reassure them or exploit them. And this is what most people will never tell you. Kindness can be a weapon if used knowingly. Not the naive kindness that expects gratitude, that is weakness, but strategic kindness. The kindness that soothes fear, that earns trust, that opens them up. For the man who feels safe will talk more than he should. He will reveal his motives without realizing he's confessed. Machiavelli would tell you, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But he would also tell you that fear and love are tools. Emotions are not moral states, but levers. Your task is to know which to pull and when. Imagine a negotiation. You sit across the table. They smile, they flatter, they speak of partnership. You listen not only to their words, but to their breathing. Is it calm or quickened? Their hands steady or restless? Their gaze direct or flickering? You mirror calm, you nod, you give them space to speak, and in that silence they will reveal what they truly want. They will think you are agreeing. They will think you are kind. But you are simply gathering intelligence. Because the person who speaks most loses the negotiation. They give away their position, their fears, their limits. The person who is silent, who watches, who lets the other speak, he wins. This is why the art of reading minds is not mystical. It is simply the art of disciplined observation, restraining your own need to perform, to speak, to impress. The weak man cannot do this. He cannot bear silence. He must fill it with his own noise, and so he is blind. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but boldness is not the same as rashness. It is the confidence to wait, to watch, to strike only when the moment is right. And knowing when that moment is comes from understanding people better than they understand themselves. Study history. Kings who trusted honeyed words lost their thrones. Generals who underestimated their enemies lost battles. Lovers who believed every promise lost their dignity. All because they listened to words without reading the mind behind them. You will not make this mistake. You will watch for the tremor in the voice that says fear, the forced laughter that says desperation, the over-eager agreement that says they plan to betray. You will see it before they speak it, because you know that men do not change. Technology changes, customs change, but the mind, the fears, the greed, the need to be seen, to be praised, to feel safe, those remain constant. Machiavelli's wisdom is timeless because human nature is timeless. So learn this. The person who knows others better than they know themselves holds power over them, and the person who knows himself is ungovernable. We will go deeper, but first, understand this foundation. Silence is your ally, observation your weapon, patience your advantage. The world will tell you to speak, to share, to reveal yourself. Resist it. Watch them first. Let them show you who they are. They will. They always do. Most people cannot keep their masks on forever. That is the second lesson. They may control their words, rehearse their arguments, even sculpt their public image with careful precision. But fatigue sets in, desire leaks out, fear slips through, the truth breaks the surface like a gasping breath from deep water. Your task is to wait for it, to recognize it when it appears, to use it. Machiavelli understood this intimately. He watched princes play at virtue while committing quiet atrocities. He saw advisors praise loyalty while scheming for power. He learned that human beings will pretend to be what is safe, what is admired, what wins favor. But in private moments, in unguarded gestures, their true nature reveals itself. So you must become a student of these private moments. The silences between words, the hesitations in speech, the unfinished sentences. These are cracks in the armor, and you must learn to slip your understanding into those cracks like a dagger. Do not be distracted by grand gestures of morality. The man who trumpets his honesty may be building credibility for a future betrayal. The woman who insists on her loyalty may already be weighing her price. The colleague who constantly reassures you may fear your power. Machiavelli would say, do not hate them for it. Expect it. Understand that men are self-interested by nature. This is not evil, it is predictable, and predictability is an advantage to the one who sees it. You must also observe your own desire to believe, because the most dangerous lies are the ones you want to be true. The lover who says you are the only one, the partner who says they have your back, the friend who swears loyalty in difficult times. You want to believe. That is your weakness. That is the chink in your own armor. If you wish to read minds before words are spoken, you must kill this need in yourself. You must choose to see what is there, not what you hope is there. This requires discipline. This requires a certain cruelty, not to others but to your own illusions. Machiavelli did not ask you to be heartless. He asked you to be realistic. For those who refuse realism suffer most when betrayal arrives. The fool who trusted too easily is not noble. He is food for the cunning. Look at the world around you. Listen to the constant chatter about values, mission statements, brand promises. How many of them are truly upheld when money is on the table, when reputation is threatened, when survival is at stake? You will find that words collapse under the weight of incentives. So learn to track incentives like a hunter tracks footprints. When a man argues for a cause, ask, what does he stand to gain? When a woman criticizes another, ask, what threat does she see? When a competitor praises you, ask, what does he want from you? This is not paranoia, this is strategy. Machiavelli would remind you that it is better to suspect and verify than to trust and be blindsided. And while you observe them, you must also control what they see in you. Remember this, power does not always come from being understood. Sometimes it comes from being unreadable. When they cannot predict you, they cannot preempt you. When they cannot decipher you, they cannot defend against you. So practice strategic silence. Let them wonder what you are thinking. Let them guess at your motives. Give them nothing to work with. If you speak, speak with purpose. Every word should move them closer to your desired outcome. Every silence should make them uneasy enough to speak more than they planned. This is not cruelty for its own sake. This is the architecture of influence. Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved, but that does not mean broadcasting your menace. The silent threat is often more powerful than the spoken one. A king who says he will punish betrayal inspires defiance. A king who says nothing at all about betrayal, who smiles quietly, makes his court uneasy. They will imagine consequences worse than he could invent. This is the value of mystery. They will fill the void of your silence with their own fears. You will learn to cultivate that void. But let us return to reading them. Notice when their story changes under pressure, when they contradict themselves, when their voice rises with anger or drops with shame. These are moments of truth. Notice what they avoid mentioning, what topics make them uncomfortable, what questions make them defensive. If you wish to know someone's true loyalty, watch how they speak about others behind their backs. For the mouth that spits poison in your ear will spit yours in another's. If you wish to know their ambition, watch what excites them. Their eyes will light up, their voice will quicken, they will lose their carefully constructed mask for just a moment. If you wish to know their fear, push gently against their boundaries. The reaction will tell you everything. You are not doing this to be cruel, you are doing this to see clearly. Machiavelli would remind you, the man who sees clearly cannot be controlled. He cannot be seduced by lies. He cannot be surprised by betrayal. He cannot be toppled by flattery. He moves through the world as a strategist among players, a master among pretenders. Because he does not react to words alone, he reads the mind before the words are spoken. We will continue, we will dig deeper, but you must internalize this now. They will always tell you who they are, not with their words, but with their silences, their gestures, their incentives, their fears. Your task is to listen for what is not said, to see what is not shown, and to use it. Most people spend their lives trying to be liked. They speak to please. They reveal themselves in the hope of connection. They overshare in the belief that honesty will shield them from harm. But Machiavelli would laugh at this. He knew that to reveal yourself without strategy is to hand over the map to your own defeat. If you want to read their mind before they speak, you must understand why they speak at all. Speech is a tool, a negotiation, a performance. No one reveals their true self without purpose. Even confession can be manipulation. Even honesty can be currency. The person who admits a small fault may be buying your trust to hide a greater one. The person who shares a painful story may be disarming you, lowering your guard. The one who makes themselves seem vulnerable may be ensuring you will not attack. Recognize these moves not with contempt but with understanding. This is human nature. This is strategy. And to read minds, you must see the game they are playing, even if they don't know they are playing it. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are so simple and so much creatures of circumstance that the deceiver will always find someone ready to be deceived." He did not mean only that people are fools. He meant they want to be deceived. They want comfort more than truth. Your job is to resist this weakness in yourself while recognizing it in others. When they speak, do not only hear the words, hear the intention. What outcome are they shaping? What image are they selling? What fear are they calming? What desire are they signaling? This is how you hear the mind before it is spoken. Imagine a business meeting. Your rival praises your idea. Why? Is it genuine respect, or is he preparing to let you speak too much so he can steal the plan? A friend tells you she's so happy for your success. Watch her eyes. Are they truly warm or flickering with resentment? A lover confesses old mistakes. Are they showing honesty or setting the stage for new demands? The mind leaks out. The body betrays. The incentives explain everything. This is the great secret Machiavelli would whisper to you. Watch incentives more than words, because the liar may speak truth if the truth benefits him, and the honest man may lie when the truth costs too much. You will also see that people contradict themselves constantly. They will say they value loyalty, yet gossip the moment you leave. They will promise commitment but disappear when challenged. This is not error. This is truth showing through the cracks. When you hear contradiction, do not be confused. Smile. You have found the real message. For example, "I don't want anything from you," says the man who asks you for a favor tomorrow. "I'm not angry," says the woman whose voice trembles with rage. "I don't care about money," says the entrepreneur who checks his sales every hour. Believe the behavior, not the statement. Machiavelli would say, "Words are wind, behavior is law." So cultivate the habit of watching what people do when they think no one is watching. How they treat waiters, how they speak about the weak, how they handle failure, how they react to envy, because these moments reveal the unedited script of their soul. And once you know that script, you can predict them. You can see their moves before they choose them. This is not about cruelty. This is about mastery. The man who cannot predict others is a slave to their surprises. But the one who reads minds before they speak is free. He is free to act rather than react, free to maneuver rather than submit, free to shape outcomes rather than beg for them. Because knowledge is control, and control is power. But beware, the first mind you must learn to read is your own. Because your fear will mislead you, your desire will blind you, your anger will warp your perception. If you want to see others clearly, you must first strip away your own illusions. Do not assume you are above these weaknesses. Machiavelli would warn you that pride is the most blinding illusion of all. A ruler who believes he is loved may ignore the quiet resentments growing in his court. A leader who believes he is wise may stop listening to counsel. A lover who believes he is irreplaceable may push his partner away. The first mind you must read is yours. Ask yourself, what do I fear? What do I want so badly I'll lie to myself to get it? What do I refuse to see because it would hurt too much? These are the weaknesses others will exploit if you don't confront them. The strategist knows himself, his motives, his incentives, his delusions, because only then can he see others without projection. You cannot be an honest observer if you are tangled in your own fantasies. You cannot see the battlefield if your eyes are clouded with emotion. Machiavelli would tell you, clarity is the foundation of power, and clarity begins with brutal self-examination. This is why the wise man is feared, not for his violence, but for his vision. He sees, he knows, he waits, he acts. While others talk, you will learn to do the same, to listen for what is not said, to watch for what is not shown, to understand the game behind the words, and to master your own mind so you cannot be moved from your purpose. Because in the end, they will tell you everything if you know how to see it, and you will. We will continue. Most people believe reading minds is about magical intuition or guessing games. They imagine it's a trick of charm or a gift you're born with. But Machiavelli would tell you it is nothing more than the disciplined study of patterns. People are not as unique as they believe. They repeat themselves. They obey incentives. They reveal their intentions through familiar shapes. If you want to read them before they speak, study these patterns with the obsession of a scientist. Make their predictability your advantage. Watch how people react to praise. Most grow pliable. Compliments soften their defenses. They open up to the one who flatters them, mistaking strategy for affection. This is why the cunning man compliments sparingly, but listens always. He lets others reveal themselves in the glow of being admired. Watch how people react to criticism. The guilty will protest too much. The proud will rage. The insecure will collapse. The calm man who considers the criticism is the one to respect. He is rare. Notice the pattern of blame. The weak blame others reflexively. The cunning blame circumstance. The powerful blame themselves first because they know responsibility is the lever of control. Machiavelli would remind you, you do not need to interrogate people to know them. You simply need to let them be themselves long enough, because most cannot sustain the act forever. You will see it in negotiations. The eager partner who insists he wants fairness may become greedy once numbers are on the table. The collaborator who claims to want teamwork may resist compromise at the first disagreement. The friend who swears loyalty may vanish at the first sign of trouble. Their true nature is not hidden. It is simply postponed. The wise strategist expects this delay. He does not rush to trust. He watches. He gathers small confirmations. He lets time do the work of unmasking. This is not cynicism. It is clarity. Machiavelli wrote that men will forget the death of their father sooner than the loss of their inheritance. Harsh, perhaps, but true often enough to be useful. If you want power, you cannot be sentimental about human nature. You must see it as it is, and you must see it in yourself, because you too have patterns. Predictable reactions, vulnerabilities that can be exploited. Do you crave praise? You will be flattered into folly. Do you fear rejection? You will bend where you should stand firm. Do you long to be seen as good? You will hesitate when ruthlessness is required. Reading their mind begins with reading your own. Ask yourself, what am I showing them without speaking? What do they see in my silence? What patterns do I reveal without knowing? Because if you cannot see yourself clearly, you cannot hide yourself effectively. Machiavelli would advise a prince to appear merciful, faithful, humane, honest, religious, and to be prepared to act otherwise when necessary. This is not hypocrisy, it is strategy. It is the understanding that men judge more by appearances than reality, but reality decides outcomes. So cultivate your own appearance carefully. Be aware of what your words and silences say about you, but hold your true intentions close. Reveal nothing without purpose. Speak only to guide them where you want them to go. Listen to guide yourself where you need to be. Because the moment you speak without strategy, you become transparent, and transparency is vulnerability. Most people will never master this. They are addicted to being understood. They want to be seen, validated, confirmed, and so they give away the blueprint of their mind for free. Your task is to do the opposite, to make your mind a labyrinth with no map. Let them guess, let them doubt, let them talk themselves into error while you watch in silence. When they speak, they reveal themselves. When you speak, you should choose what you reveal, and always less than they want to know. Remember this. In every negotiation, the person who needs to speak most loses. They are the one who clarifies their limits, who reveals their fears, who confirms their desires. The silent one holds the advantage. Machiavelli would remind you that even the appearance of silence can be powerful. A ruler who listens more than he speaks inspires fear. His court wonders what he knows. His enemies guess at his plans. His allies respect his discipline. Your silence is not emptiness. It is a wall they cannot see through. Your words are not random. They are arrows aimed with purpose. Every time you let them speak first, you learn. Every time you speak last, you decide. And every time you choose silence when they expect noise, you unsettle them. They will reveal their mind to fill that silence. They cannot help it, because people are uncomfortable with mystery. They want to know. They want certainty. Use that need against them. But remember, mastery is not cruelty for its own sake. It is understanding the levers of human nature and deciding when to pull them. Sometimes you will use this to protect yourself, sometimes to negotiate better terms, sometimes to expose a lie, and sometimes to offer genuine mercy once you see their fear. Because once you see clearly, you can choose wisely. Machiavelli did not teach ruthlessness without reason. He taught that the appearance of mercy is most effective when you have the power to punish. Likewise, your ability to speak wisely is most powerful when you know what you could say and choose what you withhold. They will test you. That is the next lesson. Once they sense you see them clearly, they will try to hide better. They will refine their masks. They will practice their lines. They will grow clever in their deceit. This is natural. This is the dance of power. Machiavelli would tell you, anticipate it, because the better you read them, the more they will resist being read. The weak will babble and confess everything, but the cunning will grow silent. The clever will watch you back. Good. That is when the real game begins. Do not fear their caution. Respect it. It is the sign you are playing at a higher level. When they grow guarded, you grow patient. When they speak carefully, you listen even more carefully. You will find that the best liars reveal themselves through the effort of concealment. The rehearsed story delivered too perfectly. The calm voice that cracks for a moment under pressure. The overcorrection that signals the truth they fear to admit. Remember, simplicity is honest. Complexity often hides lies. If you ask a direct question and receive a winding answer, you have learned something. If they refuse to answer at all, you have learned even more. Do not push too hard. Pushing makes them retreat further. Instead, cultivate space. Make silence your ally. People hate silence. They rush to fill it. They fear what it says about them. A negotiator will reveal his lowest price if you simply remain silent after his first offer. A friend will confess secrets to break the discomfort of your quiet gaze. A rival will expose his plan by talking too much, hoping to unsettle you. Machiavelli would remind you, silence is not emptiness, it is pressure. Learn to sit comfortably in that pressure. Let them squirm, let them try to guess your thoughts. Let them fill the space with their own confessions. Because the first to speak from discomfort loses the advantage. There is power in measured silence, but there is equal power in the well-chosen word. Do not imagine this is about being mute. Speak when it serves you. Ask questions that seem innocent but are barbed with purpose. Not "why did you do this?" but "help me understand your thinking here." Not "are you lying to me?" but "what would you have done if our roles were reversed?" These questions disarm defenses. They invite self-revelation. Because people want to explain themselves. They want to be understood. They want to justify their choices. Let them. The more they explain, the more they reveal the logic of their mind. You will hear their values, their fears, their weaknesses, their ambition. You will see the architecture of their thoughts before they even realize what they've exposed. This is how you read them. Machiavelli wrote that princes must know how to act as beasts as well as men. The fox to recognize traps, the lion to frighten wolves. Reading minds before speech is the art of the fox. You see the snare before you step into it. You notice the bait. You recognize the path your rival wants you to take, and you choose another, or you turn the trap back on them. This is not cruelty for its own sake. It is survival, because the world is full of men who would use you if they could, who would sell you comfort while planning betrayal, who would praise you into complacency. Your task is to see it coming. But let us be clear, this is not merely for defense, it is also for mastery. Once you know their fears, you can offer reassurance. Once you know their desires, you can offer incentive. Once you see their hesitation, you can guide their choice. Power is not simply force, it is direction. Machiavelli would say, the wise man does at once what the fool does finally. You see first, you act first, you decide first, and they follow. But understand this warning. To use these skills well, you must know your own morality. Because once you can see them, you can manipulate them, and that temptation will be strong. Will you use what you see to build or to destroy, to protect or to exploit, to enlighten or to deceive? Machiavelli did not moralize. He described, he left the choice to you, but he would advise you to be prepared to act as necessity demands, to be good when possible, to be ruthless when required, and to know the difference. You will find that people reveal their deepest truths in their contradictions. The man who swears he never lies is often lying. The one who proclaims loyalty most loudly fears betrayal. The woman who claims she doesn't care is often deeply invested. Listen for the gap between their words and their emotion. Watch the micro-expressions, the tightening of the mouth, the shift of the eyes, the sudden stillness. These betrayals are fleeting, but honest. You will miss them if you rush. So cultivate patience. Patience is your greatest weapon. The longer you observe, the more you see. The more you see, the more you know. The more you know, the less you need to say. And the less you say, the more they reveal. This is the paradox of power. The silent man learns the most. The quiet strategist wins the battle before it begins. Because he does not fight the enemy's words, he fights the enemy's mind. And he does so before a single word is spoken. You must understand one final truth. Mastery over others begins with mastery over yourself. Machiavelli would tell you that the greatest danger to a strategist is not the cunning of his rivals, but the blindness of his own passions. Because if you cannot read your own mind, you cannot read theirs. Most men fail at this. They want so badly to believe in the goodness of others, they close their eyes to betrayal. They want so badly to be praised, they ignore manipulation. They want so badly to feel safe, they surrender power. You must be different. If you want to read their mind before they speak, you must first clear your own of illusions. Begin with fear. What do you fear so much you refuse to see it in others? If you fear betrayal, you may rush to trust anyone who promises loyalty. If you fear rejection, you may accept disrespect to avoid conflict. If you fear failure, you may lie to yourself about the risks you face. Machiavelli would tell you, know your fear so it cannot be used against you. Then consider your desire. Desire is the hook others will bait. They will promise you love, respect, security, riches, status. If you do not understand your hunger, they will feed you poison dressed as food. Know what you want. Admit it to yourself brutally. For the man who knows what he wants cannot be seduced by false promises. Next, examine your pride. Pride blinds even the wise. You will think you are too clever to be fooled, too good to be corrupted, too strong to be broken. But everyone has a weakness. The wise man finds his own first. Machiavelli would remind you that even the most powerful prince can fall if he forgets this. He might crush rebellions, defeat armies, silence rivals, yet lose everything to a whisper in his own heart. A need for love, a hunger for glory, a terror of disgrace. Conquer yourself first, then you can see clearly. Because once you have disciplined your own mind, you will see theirs like glass. You will recognize the fear behind aggression, the insecurity behind arrogance, the envy behind sabotage, the desire behind the bargain. You will see the lever to move them and the limit beyond which they cannot be moved. But with this power comes responsibility. Because the man who sees others truly has a choice. He can exploit, or he can guide. He can deceive, or he can instruct. He can break, or he can build. Machiavelli did not preach virtue for its own sake. He taught utility. He understood that a ruler must sometimes be harsh. But he also knew that cruelty without purpose weakens power in the long run. So be deliberate. Do not harm without gain. Do not manipulate without cause. Do not destroy what you can use. The strategist is not a sadist. He is a builder who knows when to cut away rot. So use what you see. When you recognize fear in someone, choose exploit it to control them or reassure it to earn loyalty. When you see desire, choose promise fulfillment to gain compliance or set boundaries to preserve your power. When you see weakness, choose strike to eliminate a threat or strengthen it to gain an ally. These are the choices of power. They are not easy. That is why so few can wield them. Most want shortcuts. They want formulas. They want guarantees. But there are none. Only judgment. Only the unblinking eye that sees what is there, not what it wishes were there. Machiavelli would say, fortune favors the bold. But boldness without understanding is suicide. True boldness is rooted in knowledge, in patience, in disciplined observation, in ruthless self-awareness. If you want to read their mind before they speak, become the man who cannot be read. Be calm when others are frantic. Be silent when others babble. Be patient when others rush. Be observant when others perform. Let them exhaust themselves trying to figure you out while you have already understood them. And when you choose to act, do so with precision, not with rage, not with desperation, but with quiet certainty. Because power is not noise, it is not threat, it is not spectacle. It is the subtle force that moves others without announcing itself. The silent current beneath the waves, the invisible hand that turns the wheel. You will become that force. If you remember what Machiavelli taught, watch them, listen without speaking. Let them reveal their mind and see it before they speak it. Because in the end, the one who knows first decides. The one who sees first rules. And the one who understands before all others is the one who cannot be defeated. That is your goal. That is your path. Take it. If you have made it this far, it's because a part of you is already prepared to see the truth that most refuse to face. A part of you understands that real power means knowing others without ever betraying yourself, even if it means standing alone in silence. Now tell me in the comments, are you ready to be doubted, feared, even resented for choosing clarity over comfort? Are you willing to pay the price of seeing what is real? If this message reached you, if it made you think, write in the comments, I choose to see. Let's see how many here are ready to embrace this path. And don't forget, keep watching the next lesson. It matters more than you realize. See you there.